What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Jess the Total Package, Craig the British Bulldog, and Joe and Cuzzaron this week, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Can someone feed me today's topic?
Martin Janet.
Martin Janet. If anybody hasn't figured this out, this is the second episode of the evening, which are always the best.
Martin Janet. We're doing another episode of the What Happened To series. And Dave, can I ask you a question? I want to know what happened. I want to know what happened to Marty Janetty.
Martin Janet.
Who the fuck is that guy?
It's actually Martin Janet. It's actually a very interesting story. What happened
Marvin Janetty.
Marvin Dash. Oh, that'll never go away. Yeah, we're gonna get into some Marty Janettiness.
Wait, do we know what his? I'm sorry, I haven't even looked at the notes, and so you're gonna hate me. Is his first name Marty, or is it Martin?
I didn't put that in there because it wasn't a legacy, so I just cut it out.
So it's Marty.
I don't.
The dude, he was born out of his mother's vagina, Marty.
Oh my sweet lord!
Well, that's
that is factually
accurate. Why are you so upset? I mean, that's
you're right. It's accurate. You're right.
That is the birds and the bees.
True. Let me see.
We can verify that for you, right quick.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, I'll call his mom.
Call his mom real quick. No, it's actually Frederick Martin Janetti.
Oh fuck, really?
Yeah.
It just takes a quick search, ladies and
From
gentlemen.
Tampa Bay, Florida.
That's even better.
He was born in
Frederick.
1960. He's 62 years old.
Wow.
60 dose.
That is something else. For audio fans, give us an Apple, Spotify,
Freddie
SoundCloud,
J
iHeartRadio,
with an arm drag.
Stitcher,
Freddie J.
Google Podcast.
J.
Or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel.
Frederick
Give us a
Janetti
solid
in trouble.
on social media and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast.
Add young
Let
Frederick
him
may not make it out
know.
of this. Small package. He got it.
Frederick.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Jeez.
This is going to
All
be
right.
fun. We got to just jump right in. We got to just
everyone
Dave,
for listening.
jump right in.
push through this one.
All right.
All right, let's get into the early career. Janetti is widely known, or Frederick.
His name is
widely
Fred.
known-
Asshole.
Fred. Whoa. for his tenure on half of tag
is
team
Fred,
The
fuck.
Rockers, which he partnered
sorry.
with Shawn Michaels. I hear Shawn Michaels is a really stand-up guy.
I never saw any of their shit. Go
Not
on.
familiar.
I'm not familiar with that guy. The duo originally found success during the mid to late 1980s under the moniker of the Midnight Rockers, becoming two-time AWA World Tag Team Champions and winning various regional titles. They became one of the foremost teams of the WWF's Golden Age, headlining multiple events.
Fair enough.
They really did.
Jess, talk a little about the Rockers in AWA.
They were a tag team in that promotion. The Midnight Rockers, there was the Midnight Express, there was the Rock and Roll Express. It was weird. I remember reading about them in magazines in the mid 80s and just being like, isn't that kind of a ripoff? But we all know what one half of them went on to become. Apparently, to some people, one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time.
All right,
I don't know about that. But
I mean, this guy
we'll have to see his library of work. I don't know about that.
tickle that
but,
chin there.
But yeah, AWA, the Midnight Rockers were actually a good deal. In the dying years of the AWA in the late 80s, they were certainly dying on the vine. They had some young talent in there. You had Hall in the mid 80s. You had Henning. You had the Rockers would come in. The Midnight Rockers would come in like 86, 87. And they were young guys. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air when I go back and watch some of the dying years of AWA. Yeah, Hogan was stripped. Gene Okerlund was stripped. Andre was stripped. Bobby Heenan was stripped. All these guys were stripped, but they did try towards the end to get some young guys. Again, the guys I mentioned, Rick Martel was one of the guys in there towards the end.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Really
huge.
amazing, talented guys in there. Medusa, talented girls as well. Sherry.
Greg Gagne.
Gagne. So there was a lot of people towards the end that they were like, they got their start in the AWA, and the Midnight Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Janetty, were two guys that got their start. It's kind of amazing, actually. It's kind of important.
Talking about the Midnight Rockers, what's in store for the Rockers in 87?
Larry, as you know, the talk about professional wrestling today is all concentrating on tag team wrestling. They're talking about the tag team competition today is tougher than it's ever been in the history of the sport. Everybody's comparing tag teams. They're comparing sizes. They're comparing styles. And they're wanting to know who is the best tag team in professional wrestling. Well, Buddy Rose and Doug Summers are the AWA World Tag Team Champions. And the Midnight Rockers have done everything we can to catch up with them. And 1987 is our year.
In the AWA, they quickly built a reputation as a talented tag team, performing many acrobatic moves in tandem and electrifying crowds with their athleticism. Don't try to put words on there that I can't pronounce after 10 o'clock.
But both of them, though, when you really look at some of their, and even Sean, like his problems, like later, it's a miracle either one of them made it.
How are they both still alive? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, it's, yeah. The two won World Tag Team Championships twice as the Midnight Rockers, first defeating Buddy Rose and Doug Summers, and then the Midnight Express for their second and final reign. They also won the Southern Tag Team Championship twice after defeating the Rock and Roll RPMs. Okay. On two separate occasions before jumping to the World.
There's a lot of Rock and Roll and Midnight teams.
Yeah. 1988.
Yeah, calm down.
Wait, can we do a bit of research? Who are the Rock and Roll RPMs? I feel like I know this.
I'll find it. I'll try to put a picture here.
Dave, you continue, and then Jess will find out.
There you go. Now called simply the Rockers, Janetty and Michaels' popularity carried over from their stint in AWA, and the team was often called Tag Team Specialist by commentator Gorilla Monsoon.
Would you stop? Please, Tag Team Specialist.
I remember him. Yeah, Tag Team Specialist. Jess? Yeah. They would face tag teams such as Demolition, the Heart Foundation, and the Brainbusters for the rest of 1989. Can I just read those names again? Because that is one of the best tag team sets that you can
Prelim name, Demolition. Prelim name, the Heart Foundation. Prelim name, the Brainbusters. Who are the fucking Brainbusters? Nobody knows.
We just let you can hear the Rockers theme music in your head. They were fantastic. The outfits maybe didn't fit like it did. They didn't quite fit with like the time or catch on to where they would be like legends with the tassels and the neon kind of thing. But it didn't matter. Like they were, every time you saw them, Vince trusted them to open Manias, open pay-per-views.
At the time, I did not like the Rockers because I was young. I didn't really care for them. I didn't like the Rock and Roll Express. I didn't like the Rockers. I didn't like the bubblegum baby faces so much. I mean, I loved Hogan, which that was the only one that was the only pass. But everybody else I liked, like Savage and Flair and those guys. They were just all, there was different meat on the bone.
Can work, right, Jess? I mean,
but when I go back and look at the footwork of Shawn Michaels, it's obvious. Marty was a professional as well. By the way, Marty Janetty was great in there. But when you go back and when you look at Shawn Michaels and you go back and watch him with the Rockers, you're like, okay, I get it now.
I get it.
Like,
in a 1991 angle, Michaels was accidentally kicked in the face during a maneuver initiated by Marty Janetty on one of the Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys, I forgot they're in this too. Which clipped Shawn in the face.
Oh, Dave, we're gonna do a what happened to on them. You fuck. Don't worry.
You have to.
It's coming.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah,
and you will get angry.
I will get angry. They're worthless. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm sorry. That's a little tough. But it clipped Shawn in the face and resulted in an elimination at Survivor Series. Michaels got up after being pinned and began screaming at Janetty, blaming him for being eliminated.
So toxic.
Attempting to settle their differences, Brutus Beefcake. I won't say what someone else says about Brutus Beefcake, but invited both of the tag team partners to interview in the segment The Barbershop on January 12th, 1992 episode of WWF Wrestling Challenge. This scene is infamous to me. Michaels and Janetty appeared to reconcile, but then Michaels turned heel, hitting Janetty with that sweet chin music, and then threw him through the barbershop glass window.
I don't care what anybody says. You know, again, this is one of the best segments in wrestling history.
Told you. Tag team specialist. See, one without the other isn't any good. Oh, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew he was going to do that. He don't need Janetty. I told you that off and on. Are you kidding? What a despicable act that was. Oh my God. Right through the glass window of the barbershop.
Like WWF was not known for doing the violent stuff. Like Crockett promotion tried to get more physical and violent with their product. You know, WWF was always more kids. And in January of '92, he threw Janetty through a glass window, and Janetty was bleeding everywhere, and it was like, oh, like, it was a violent thing. And you're going to read on here, like, this feud should have been the blood feud to end all blood feuds, right? If you're going to start out with throwing someone through a window, oh man, there's going to be a cage match, a pinfalls anywhere match, right? Unfortunately, it didn't happen, as you're going to read on. But like, this segment is fucking famous. Like, one of the best heel turns, one of the best angles, period, in wrestling history.
It's just sugar glass.
That barbershop.
Just sugar glass. But
just sugar glass. It'll still hurt you.
Still hurt you.
It tastes so sweet.
Janetty was initially meant to work the injury, thus missing the opportunity to win the vacant WWF Championship at the 1992 Royal Rumble. Who won that Rumble?
It was Ric Flair, and it should have been Hogan.
Put that cigarette out.
Yeah. He was scheduled to return shortly after to start a feud, which was to lead to a one-on-one match between Michaels and Janetty at WrestleMania 8. However, in the early hours of January 25th, 1992, Janetty was arrested in Tampa, Florida. It's always fun.
Oh, really? That's weird.
After interaction,
why? Why is that?
Because it's Florida.
It's Florida or everywhere.
He was arrested in Florida, and a crocodile came jumping in the car after him.
More than likely. Janetty's female companion, a 19-year-old named Angela Lalassie. I hope I got that
All
right.
this sounds legit. Go on. I don't see a problem.
Yeah, was arrested for trying to use a fake ID. Janetty assaulted the officer performing
Normal
the
and
arrest,
fine.
which led to his arrest. They were found to be in possession of less than a gram of cocaine.
That's a small amount.
Yeah, no, you can take that on planes now, can't you? Sorry.
As we said before we record, everything's fine.
Everything's fine, Marty.
Everything's
fine.
It's fine.
Everything
Everything's
fine.
fine.
Frederick, you're fine.
You can't hit him from there, Craig. Get your 3-wood out. You can't hit him from there. That's how all the stories
175.
Janetty was charged with possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia.
Wait, Frederick was?
Frederick?
I hope he fought it in court, because that's ridiculous.
And resisting arrest with force. He was indefinitely suspended by the WWF following the incident, and his singles matches that were taped in January did not even air. In March of 1992, he was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest and was released by the WWF shortly after that. Shortly after the house arrest concluded, though, Janetty re-signed with the WWF and returned on October 12th of 92 at a TV station in Saskatchewan, from the crowd attempting to strike Michaels with his mirror, but inadvertently hitting sensational Sherry. God, that was good stuff. Michaels then valet when Michaels pulled her out in front. I will say, I've said it before, I say it again.
That segment, dude, oh my God. I remember that segment too. Like, him returning shocked everybody. It was on Superstar.
The crowd went nuts. They were so bought in on this whole thing.
Yeah.
What is this? Hey, that's Marty Janetty. Yes, it is. That's exactly who it is. Marty Janetty's in the ring with Shawn Michaels. Michaels can't believe what he sees. Yes, turn around. Marty Janetty.
After what Shawn Michaels did to Janetty, I didn't think we'd ever see Janetty again.
Janetty with Michaels. Flips him to the air. Janetty has returned to the WWF.
He's outraged.
Janetty whipping Michaels. Look at this. What's going to happen? Oh, what a clothesline.
Janetty's got no business being in the ring. He wasn't signed to wrestle Shawn Michaels.
You recall Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Janetty through the barber shop window.
He, being Janetty, challenged Michaels to a match in 1993 Royal Rumble for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Janetty lost after interference by Sherry had backfired. It was planned for the two to continue their feud, but Janetty was released again after rumors circulated stating that he'd been under the influence of alcohol or other drugs during that match, leading to the comparably low quality.
I remember being super excited. So I remember being puzzled as a fan, because we did not have any internet back here in 92.
Sure.
So, and I didn't order Dave Meltzer's dirt sheet like to come in my mail. So like, we didn't know. You have this hot feud where someone throws somebody else through a glass window, and then Janetty just goes away for a year. So it's like, what the fuck happened? Dave read, we know now that they were actually going to face each other like 3 months later in probably an amazing match if both guys had their head on their shoulders straight, Janetty being the person of focal here, the focus point, I should say. That match could have been fucking crazy. Can you imagine Janetty and Michaels at WrestleMania 8 probably tearing the house down? But he goes away for almost a year. He comes back. They finally set up the match for Royal Rumble 93, and I remember watching as a fan being super excited, and it kind of left me underwhelmed. And now Dave read, too, behind the scenes, there was a problem with Janetty. People were doubting his commitment. People were saying that he wasn't showing up fit for work.
Do you have anybody who actually said that? They maybe on record?
Oh, I do. I talked to...
No, I'm saying, like,
Shawn
did anybody
Michaels?
ever come forward and say, I said that? Like,
I
Shawn
don't
admits
remember.
that, or-
I don't know. I truly don't know. I don't remember. I think Pritchard might have said that they just felt that Janetty wasn't like in it to win it kind of thing, and it was just sort of that way.
He's down and out. Patented Crescent kick by the champion. Hooks the leg. The referee's there. It's over. We got him. What a miscarriage of justice. The winner of this bout, and still Intercontinental Champion, obviously an accident by Sensational Jerry. She certainly did not mean to hit Marty Janetty. She meant to hit the champion.
And then plus
Yeah,
a
it
whole
says here
year went
that
by.
he said he did have lack of sleep, and the rumor was started by Shawn that he actually was intoxicated.
Well, Shawn is a
Which,
bitch.
If that's true, I'm not surprised.
He's a stupid bitch.
Yeah. Sometimes people just don't wrestle well together either, by the way. Maybe they just couldn't work well together. That's possible too.
Well,
Who
they
knows?
ended up working together well, which maybe maybe the Royal Rumble 93 was true. Or Janetty could have been
Okay.
rusty from being off for a year.
There you
know?
go. That's possible. Jenny did return again in May of 93, challenging Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship after appearing out of the crowd on Monday Night Raw. That's when
Another
Raw was
fucking
really raw.
amazing moment.
Savage,
We got a guy over here getting into the ring. Hey, Vince.
Another guy gonna
Some guy
shine
out
some
of the
shoes.
stands wants to take me up on this challenge, right? Look, buddy, you got your ticket. Sit down in your seat and go to wherever it is you came.
Marty Janetty.
That's Marty Janetty. Wait a minute.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Are you a man of your word? Are you a true champion?
Don't do nothing foolish, Sean.
Are you gonna put your belt where your mouth is?
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Defend that championship against me.
No.
Wait a minute. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Can't
If you're a
dodge
man
the
of your
bullet this
word,
time.
why not defend the title right here tonight? Why not tonight?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, look, I was prepared.
Did you bring your wrestling game?
Well, no, be quiet. Look, obviously.
You're a man of your word.
I am a man of my word.
Right.
Look, he's not prepared to wrestle. He doesn't.
Would you wrestle like this if you had to?
No, I can't. No.
Would you?
He might get hurt. I wouldn't want that.
But you would, right? You would give me a title match right here, right now, if I have my stuff. Let me go get it.
Then it's done. Sean, yes, you said you're a man of your word.
Yeah. When Michaels was being interviewed by Vince McMahon and telling the audience that he would defend his title against anyone at any time. Yeah, I love the Raws back here because they really were raw. It was like so.
I
it was this
remember him
weird stage
appearing
studio,
I remember watching this
held like
Raw
a couple
and
hundred
then
people.
Janetty. Yeah, Janetty appearing out of nowhere, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" Like it was awesome, and Dave will read on it too.
These were
it was
fun.
a great match, actually, by the way, as well.
Yeah,
I think it won match of the year.
Though Michaels initially tried to back out of fighting Janetty, clearly not expecting anyone, least of all Janetty, to challenge him, he eventually put his title on the line against his former partner. Janetty won the title that night thanks to Mr. Perfect preventing Michaels from going into the locker room where he'd be counted out, but he would be able to keep his title.
Forget Perfect. Oh, Mr. Perfect is through with his towel. Wait a minute. Here's a cover. No. Yes. No. What is this? We have a new Intercontinental Champion.
Give him the belt. Give him the belt.
Don't have a Perfect interference.
Marty Janetty.
Janetty only had one title defense on television, defeating Bam Bam Bigelow by countout on the May 31st, 1993 edition of Monday Night Raw. He lost it back to Michaels just 3 weeks after winning it on June 6th of 1993 in a non-televised match in Albany, New York, due to interference from Michaels' then debuted bodyguard, Diesel. Yeah. That's just mean. It's not even televised. I still baffle that they wouldn't put this
What
on
makes
TV.
trucks go?
Diesel. Janetty won the tag team championship with the 1-2-3 kid from the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre, on the January 10th episode of Monday Night Raw. They lost the title to the Quebecers 7 days later at Madison Square Garden at a non-televised event.
I'm not kidding you. Go back and watch their Monday Night Raw match where Kid and Janetty won the titles. It is a fucking good match. It really is. Like, it's, again, Dave was talking about on Raw.
This would be a tough thing. Like,
there were so many cool nuggets on Raw in 93 and 94.
Wait a minute, look at this. 1, 2, 3, kid going up. Oh, like a 1, 2. Yes, yes, yes.
The winners of this bout, and World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Marty Janetty and the 1, 2, 3,
So go ahead. Sorry, say it again.
No, so take that quiz. If you had like a wrestling quiz challenge from people that are avid wrestling fans and say, "Did Marty Janetty ever win the WWF tag title?" No, him and Michaels never won it. No, he won, but he did win it with the 1-2-3 kid.
Well, they almost did. They never televised it, but he actually won it with, like you said, what
that too.
Kid. That would stump
So
a lot of people on trivia.
It would stump a lot of people. It's so weird.
But this match is really good. Go back and watch that match if you get a chance. Go back to that. I think I'll list it later in the matches you should watch of Marty Janetty. And it was a very good match on Monday Night Raw. There's a lot of gems in 93, 94 on Raw.
Yeah. After a brief stint in ECW in 1995, he would then return to the WWF and remain in the lower mid card there. He would even set up for the tag team New Rockers with Leif Cassidy, better known as Al Snow, in 1996.
Fucking yikes.
What does everybody want? Yeah.
Yikes.
He would bounce around, Janetty. He would bounce around between WCW and the WWF for many years, never having a program of really any relevance, unfortunately. On the March 14, 2005 episode of Raw, Janetty returned for a one-time only reunion with his former tag team partner, Shawn Michaels, once again billed as the Rockers and performing their traditional entrance with their original music against La Resistance, which was Sylvain Grenier and Rob Conway. Janetty scored the win for his team after he used his signature rocker dropper.
You like that music, JR? I haven't heard that in years. Oh, look at that. It's the Rockers reunion. And the fans are on their feet here in Atlanta. Wow.
The following tag team contest is given for one fall. Introducing first the team of Shawn Michaels and Marty Janetty, the Rockers.
You gotta be surprised. What a night. I mean, when you got here tonight, did you think?
Yeah, they like those one night onlys with the older guys, I guess. Anything you guys want to say before we get into the legal
No,
issues?
it could have been a good ending. You know, it doesn't end well for Janetty, and I don't even know to this day, as we record this, if it's going to end well for him. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't. It's pretty downhill slope, pretty steep here. So, in January of 2016, Janetty was named as part of a class action lawsuit filed against the WWE, which alleged that wrestlers incurred traumatic brain injuries during their tenure.
They
and that
did.
The company would conceal the risk of injury. That suit was litigated by attorney Constantine Kairos, who has been involved in a number of other lawsuits against the WWE. The lawsuit was dismissed by U.S. District Judge Vanessa Lynn Bryant in September of 2018. I find that fascinating that was dismissed. There's no way that they can't pull this together and figure it out. Like, there's something bigger going on there. Bryant was critical of that lawyer for including irrelevant information in the lawsuit, including details about Janetty's broken ankle, which she said had wasted the court's time. Maybe it's just bad lawyering, but I think this should be revisited. But there needs to be more done for these guys. But that's just my opinion. In the early morning hours of August 5th, 2020, Janetty made a Facebook post in which he said he made a man disappear when he was 13 years old.
Hell yeah.
Police in Columbus, Georgia confirmed that they would investigate that post. Janetty later clarified that he did not kill the man, but he hit him in the head with a brick after an attempted sexual assault and made him disappear. The following month, Janetty said that his comments were part of a wrestling storyline which he had to drop because of the police investigation.
Oh yeah, no, dude, that was just an angle. That was just a
So
And angle
weird.
for
You know
what?
what?
For
I mean,
what company you're working with? By the way,
he's
not
gone
working
down
with
a
anyone.
rabbit hole, right? Like how I, you
What?
know, listen. Like I don't know him
What?
personally or anything like that,
Huh?
but like I think Janetty at this point is going to. You don't know anymore, like what's real and what's not. And I don't believe that he did it for wrestling storyline at all. I mean that he just rambles. You know, this is why I get shitty. Like again, I'm not trying to prod a fight with Dave right now. But when Dave and Cuz give me shit for Dave Meltzer and stuff, I'm like, you know, it's the underbelly. Well, no, I mean, I'm just using that as an example. It's the underbelly that you should be mad about. It should be the shoot video that paid him probably $100 to come with graffiti in the back wall behind me. They goat these guys, these fucking drugged out guys and beaten down wrestlers. And they say, here's $1,000, here's $2,000. Come and talk shit. And they get hits on YouTube and they get hits everywhere, whatever. But Janetty's going to take the money. He's a drug addict. He's fucked up.
yeah.
Like, you know, of course he's going
It
to take
doesn't
that.
mean it's not true though.
You're right. A good point. But at the same time, like they create so much more like a cloud of not really knowing the truth by doing this. These are the cancers that you should be worried about because you have people who give him money and he could spout, I made a guy go away one day with the brick. Like, it's like, fuck, what are you doing? Like, you're giving these addicts $1,000, $2,000 to tell fake stories that may or may not be real. Like, I don't know. I think that's the cancer. And it's part of the internet. It's part of what we accept. We all click on it. But that's just my feeling on it. Like, Janetty shouldn't be giving a microphone in front of his face because he's going to say stupid shit. And he's going to, oh, these guys just gave me $2,000. One time in the back, John and I think
agree.
we saw a dog have sex with the big bird. Like, it's like, okay, good. Did you though?
Yeah.
No, I mean, the guy gave me $2,000. I got to give him something.
But I agree. But I also think these guys live their life where they have stories that are incredible and beyond description. And the only way you're going to get them out of the corporate environment where they work for these companies, is when you pay them.
Yeah.
But I also
I think they're also
agree.
always working you.
Correct. I think everything a wrestler tells you is a work. And if you're going to pay $1,000 or $500,
okay, so
and put them
when
like
are they
with
in
a-
character? When are they in character? When they're paid and they're on TV, right? So why
Right.
would you think that somebody giving you $1,000 for a shoot interview? Why wouldn't they go right back into character? Like,
Right.
I'm not saying some stuff wasn't true. I'm not saying every shoot interview is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of times where, you know he's an addict. You know he is. You didn't drug
Yes.
test him. I'm not saying you did, but you
Yes.
know he is. But you're still going to give him
Yes.
money because you want some shit. You know Sandman's drunk. You're going to give him the money, though. You know Sonny's drunk. You're going to give him the money, though. It's like, come on, man. Where do we draw the line?
But then
What?
I keep laughing at the image behind Jess of Marty, and that's the image
Yeah.
of Marty right now in the
That's
last
the
10
image.
years. It's like
Yep.
he's not a wrestler. There is no kayfabe anymore. He's an addict, and he will take whatever
Right,
money
yeah.
you give him, and he will give you whatever story you want to tell, and he will embellish it, and he will tell you he murdered a dude when he was 13 years old or whatever have you. And frankly, I think I believe almost half of it. Because wrestlers
That's
live,
a good point. That's a good
like,
point.
what I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. And when they're at their worst, and wrestlers that as addicts or at their worst, like you almost like you begin to perk up. And
So
say,
now I'm going to
"Wait,
flip my script and
real?
say that
Is
you have a
this-
good
Are we
point.
talking real here?
Yeah. Now I'm going to flip my script and say you have a good point because, like, you're right. Like, maybe they're at the end of their rope and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to let it all out. All the shit
Yeah.
I've been holding on to for years or whatever. And
Yeah.
if I get $1,000 or $500 or whatever, great. I don't know. I don't know the answer. My initial feeling is that it's just like I think that I do like the schmutty stories, but I also just like cool, funny road stories, like Vince telling the
Yeah.
story of
Yeah.
watching Austin pace outside the room, and then he's like, "What are you pacing for?" I'm just debating on whether I want to grab that bedpan, hit you in the head.
No, whoa. Let's talk about some notable matches here.
It's
So,
all just carny. It's all, everything
I'm-
everyone does is carny.
really is.
Like we're all just, whether you're Shawn Michaels or Triple H or the best wrestler in the world or the worst wrestler in the world, it's carnival. It's performance. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Marty, ended up, there are t-shirts that says, I'm Sean, you're Marty. He was the addict. He lost out on everything, and he had maybe more of talent than Sean did, and it didn't matter. And he's the addict. And after everything, like, I just feel sorry for him. Like, man, so the title of this episode is What Happened to Marty Janetty? He just spiraled and never pulled up. And I think he had a lot of people helping him, and a lot of times where he could have redeemed himself, and it doesn't matter, and he's still bitter. And he will, at the end of the rope, people will say, well, I know shit about the underbelly of the business, and I'm going to share it with you. And it might be true or not. And it probably is true. But at the end of the day, Marty is no fault and no one to blame but himself.
Right.
Well, with that, let's talk about some notable matches then. Don't worry about the Janetty now. Worry about the Janetty then that you can go watch, which is the Rockers versus the Twin Towers at WrestleMania 5 in 1989. Very underrated.
I love it.
The Rockers versus the Hart Foundation on Saturday night's main event, April 28th, 1990.
Is that when the ropes broke? What match did the
no,
ropes
I
break?
don't believe so. I do not believe. It was later in 1990 when the ropes broke, but it wasn't this early because this, I think, Hart Foundation weren't even tag champs yet. They didn't beat Demolition until SummerSlam 90. So this was before Demolition were tag. Sorry, this is before the Hart Foundation won the tag titles.
Wow.
It was a great match.
The Rockers versus the Brainbusters in a 2 out of 3 falls match on Saturday night's main event, November.
A lot of
25th,
people say out of
1989.
all the matches on Saturday Night Main Event history that this might be the greatest Saturday Night Main Events match of all time. Rockers and Brainbusters, 2 out of 3
Come on,
falls
man.
match.
That's amazing.
It was
Amazing.
Tully and Arn.
Dude, Marty was capable of fucking anything, right?
Yeah.
Marty Janetty versus Shawn Michaels.
Or
for the
Frederick.
WWIC title. Frederick Janetty. For the IC title on Monday Night Raw on May 17th of 1993.
And I did go back and look at that while you were talking, Dave. That match, the Monday Night Raw match, May 17th, 1993, where Janetty surprised everyone and came back and won the IC title. Match of the year in PWI 1993.
Fuck yeah. Good. Fuck yeah.
Marty Janetty and the 1-2-3 Kid.
I want to. You want to cheer for him. You really want to cheer for him.
Yeah.
This is where Marty and the 1-2-3 Kid win the tag titles on Raw on January 10th of 1990.
Another great match. I love that match.
Nice little nuggets in there.
So good.
For sure. Yeah.
Can we talk about why he never changed his outfits? They were always a bit out there.
No, well, not even that. It was always very rocker style.
Yes.
Like he never. I think that's part of the problem.
Yes.
I think a lot of people think it was my big critique for Roman Reigns for a long time. When all 3 of them broke the Shield up and they all 3 went individual. Ambrose looked totally different. Seth looked totally different. Roman kept the Shield shit on and the music.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they chose to
Oh my
push
God,
him.
yes.
But they chose to push him. And I'm like, you wonder, in their mind, though, they're like, oh, if we keep reminding the crowd of the Shield, they'll love him. And I'm like, no, that's why they don't like him. You split the Shield up, so the crowd wants to let go of the Shield since you split them up. But you keep one guy that reminds them over and over again of that. Janetty was that guy. You split the Rockers up, and you do a violent thing by throwing Janetty through the window. Sean changes. He tries a sexy boy thing. He has mirrors. He does all earrings.
Sean went totally opposite of it. Yeah.
And then Janetty comes back and he's like, hey, I'm still in my rocker stuff. How you guys like me? It's like, no, I don't like you at all. Like, you're totally the same. We don't want to remember the Rockers anymore because that broke up. We want to know who Marty Janetty is. Maybe that was the problem.
That is fucking brilliant.
I've always had a problem with that.
Well said. Well said.
When you split a tag
brilliant.
up, and when you split a tag up, and one of them stays the same, I'm like, they broke
He
you up.
never
You're done.
got out of
You're
it.
done. Yeah.
He looked like the
there was
Michelin.
no
I'll never forget the Michelin Man.
93.
on Raw.
Royal Rumble 93.
They were trying. Somebody was
it was
trying.
Royal
Black
Rumble
and
93.
white
It was
stripes.
a
Like,
Michelin
what the
Man type.
fuck are you wearing, dude?
I guess he tried, but it was like it was a hybrid of the rocker outfit that he was wearing. It wasn't any different.
It was different, but it wasn't.
I just hope he got paid millions from Michelin.
There you go. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. For Dave, Jess, and Craig, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.
Bye.